Oh, what college is for?
But truth with all its farther schemes, let's down aside.
If you're enthusiastic about learning, to me, that's a great college education.
You've often said that grades don't matter.
Absolutely. You have to get grades that are good enough to stay in school. Tragically. I wish they would do away with the grading system and just have faculty write a paragraph about each student at the end of the semester. That would be much better. You can learn, and if you get obsessed about grades, and if you go, oh darn, I'm getting B's, I'm not doing well at this, I'm getting C's, I hate this, I can't do it, then you're giving yourself the wrong message. What you ought to be saying is, boy, I'm really enthusiastic about this. I'm really having fun. Yeah, I'm getting rotten grades, but that's okay. I got a lifetime, you know? I mean, 4 years of college, heck. On a relative time scale, most people expect to be, 80 maybe. Okay, I'm 60, expecting to be 300. I'm only 20% through my life. So, on a percentage basis, Eric, you're older than I am. If you like what you're learning, if it's fun learning it, then you'll learn it. Whether you learn it like that or it takes you years and years. Riding a bicycle. You break your arm trying to learn a bicycle, but once you know how to do it, it's like that. If it's fun, it's a lot easier. If somebody says, you're going to learn to ride a bicycle, then the kid says, I don't want to do it. But if you say, boy, is it fun riding a bicycle, then the kid says, I'm going to learn to do it even if they break their arm. And so that made me realize that what is important is actually enthusiasm. So it's just like riding a bicycle. If you want to do something, don't worry about it whether it's easy or hard. What I think is crucial is learning to be enthusiastic about learning. If you're enthusiastic about learning, to me, that's a great college education. And that's why I play songs when people come into my classroom and have them sing, because I would like it to be fun. I went to Carleton. Well, that was the 60s. I could go on and on. This was Vietnam. This was civil rights. It was a magical time. We all believed we were going to save the world. Classes were pretty much secondary. I would say college was my social education and my political education, even though at the same time I was double majoring in chemistry and biology. So I actually studied pretty darn hard. I could go on and on.
Please do.
Okay. The other thing is wonderful friends, the song we sing in some of my classes. You can make precious friends that will last all your life. I am very fortunate. I did. Many of my friends are very fortunate. They did. Many of the students I've had here, they do that as well. After you get out of here, all of a sudden there's advanced study where you're just really working hard. There's jobs and children and all that other stuff. You will never in your life have the time at such a formative stage to make really close friends. And I think that is something that is really critical to college. Early on, like by your sophomore year, you ought to know the 3 professors that you're going to ask for recommendations. And you ought to get to know those people. You ought to call them. You ought to go in. I mean, I think all your classes, as soon as you go to the first class, you ought to make an appointment with the professor, go sit down one-on-one with the professor and talk for 5 minutes. I think that's really helpful to a student's grade because the professor knows you care about the course. There's a new curricular proposal that's the faculty are now debating. It's 6 pages of fine print saying, if you want a Beloit education, you have to do these 12 things, and under each of the 12 things, you have to do these 6 things. And so it's a combination of all the powerful faculty telling all the other faculty how every student must get an education with a lengthy checklist, which I just think is outrageous. I, very early on, was not politically skillful. Did not become a powerful faculty member because I kept standing up and saying, but why can't it be simple? Why can't we just say, you know, get a good education, make friends? But this, oh, you have to do 10 courses and it has to be all these, that's old school. That was fine in the 20th century, but now there's way too much to learn in all the classes. You have to learn to love it, and you have to learn to read it all on your own, and let the classes just be times to get enlightened. Out of classroom, the most profound time I had was I was walking. It was a French teacher, and she was sitting on her front porch, and I just walked up and said, "Hello, it's a beautiful day, and I see you sitting out here. How's it going?" In about 3 minutes, she started saying, "Well, I'll tell you. My husband died when I was fairly young, but ever since then he's been so important to me, and it's made me realize how precious other people are. And so, I mean, I just say to you, the most important thing you can do in college is find people to love. A life full of love is the best thing there is. Even though my husband's dead, I'm still all full of love." And that conversation just really bowled me right over, because she was saying, it doesn't matter how sad you become, love while you can, because it's the best thing there is. So, and then we should finish up. If you want to get near the end, I should go ahead and read this. This is my quotation here from Fear and Trembling, which I read. It's Soren Kierkegaard, the philosopher. "Most people live dejectedly in lonely joy and sorrow. They are the ones who sit along the wall and do not join in the dance. The knights of infinity are dancers and possess elevation. They make movements upward and fall down again, and this too is no mean pastime nor ungraceful to behold. But whenever they fall down, they are not able to assume the posture. They vacillate an instant, and this vacillation shows that after all, they are strangers in the world." It's about this passion and caring so much about life. And so then this closing sentence is just the most powerful thing under the sun. "He whose soul has not this romantic enthusiasm has sold his soul, whether he got a kingdom for it or a paltry piece of silver." Okay.
One last question.
Okay.
What is college for?
It's to learn to love. It's to learn to love learning. It's to learn to love people. It's to learn to love life. There's going to be wonderful things and horrible things, and you have to take it all as part of the wonderful adventure. When you go to college, bang, you can be a new person.
We're rolling home. We're rolling home.